turn this off for now. How do I plug this back in? My headphones. Nice. My impression was that I absolutely loved this game, but now I'm like... worried. Because I just played some impressionable shit.
イース。かつてこの地上に栄華を誇った理想郷。イースは2人の女神と6人の神官によって統治され、強大な力を秘めた金属により繁栄を極めた。神官は人々に敬われ、その統治は公平無私であった。美しい女神は宝と謳われ、銀融詩人の主題であった。イースの繁栄は永遠に続く。
I have a feeling this is gonna be a lot better than what we just played, but we'll
だが
see.
その文
It
明
might be
の
the
絶
same
頂で
thing,
イー
pretty
スは
much.
恐るべき最悪により一夜にして滅び去り、映画のすべては無に帰し
I've seen evidence that it might be deeper than what we just played.
それから700年の長きにわたって伝
I've
説は
seen
沈黙を
people
守り続け
make videos proving that there's no like grind required for a certain part.
再び伝説は
Which
語
means there
り
might be
始め
some skill in the combat.
新たなイ
Whoa,
ース
this image is iconic. I feel like I've seen this a million times. I don't know necessarily why. I mean, I'm very aware of this game series. Oh shit, I've heard this before. This music. I know that, I think her name is Shoko Minami? Let me check if that's really her name. Yeah, Shoko Minami, Urasa Yatsura, singer. Did some East music. I don't know. Yeah, so she did. I want to listen to that, and it's. Let me see if I can find the East music that she sung. I love her voice. It's one of my absolute favorites in general. For singing. Can I find the East? Maybe not. Alright, I'll just save this for later then. But yeah, I'm excited to listen to that more. Let's get on with the show. Let's get the show on the road. I'm excited to play this one. I'm not going to play it during the weekend because I have some other stuff planned, some Wii games. This is what I've been doing in the week. Oh shit! It's the same thing as the game we just played. The beginning versus continue. The music might be really good, so I'm excited. I'm excited for that aspect for sure. First time. Alright, I'll stop that. Neat. This might be one of them all time. This is like Like, if I look up best RPG, like, this must be, like, oh, it's not exactly what comes up. Good music. I think my top 5 games in that order. This is mentioned. I don't know, it's not the first thing that... It's the second thing that comes up now. So a game that we have coming up fairly soon is the sequel to Soraya. It's apparently like good. I don't know if I can really believe that, judging by the first game. Maybe it's a huge improvement though, which would make sense. The first game was like, excuse me, hold up. Chris Warren, we're playing an English patch. Hold up, really? Oh, I downloaded the wrong thing. Okay. That makes sense, though. I mean, it would be playable, but it's just, like, gonna take too long, so... it would just take too fucking long. That's the truth, man. Sad. But one day I'll be able to hopefully play stuff like that, and it won't be that big of a deal. And just play it, you know, just play it. But yeah, I'm curious if they have, you know, English voices. Let's listen to this. Shokomidami. Let's see. So they're saying Far East of Eden 2. Isn't this what we were just listening to? Oh no, it's Palestine. I'm a big fan of Shoko Minami's voice. I'll listen to this more eventually. Once I'm like actually play this game, it'll be a lot cooler, I'm sure. Interesting. What happened to her career? Let me look this up just to make sure nothing bad happened. She doesn't have a Wikipedia. That's shocking. I've seen like more obscure singers with Wikipedias, so. Idols. I don't know. She's an idol, maybe. Probably, maybe. I don't know. Oh, she didn't really do much singing in anime besides Urusei Yatsura and What's Michael. Is that really? That's it? She did stuff for games, but not that much anime overall, really. I thought it was like kind of getting hot, and now it's too cold because I turned on the fan for 5 seconds. It's pretty crazy. One, two, three, four. Okay, good. All right, whatever. What is Can't believe I chose the wrong thing. I don't even know. But I did. Chose the wrong thing. Attempt number 2. Oh, what if I put East on here? Zach? What if I put East 1 and 2? East 1 and 2. Interesting. That has a lot of viewers. Alright, whatever. Don't worry about it next time. Just in case nothing bad happens, we're gonna do this, because who knows, man. Sometimes it can break the game if I don't have the right controls. It's so funny, like, how many games am I gonna, like, be able to find highlights for? Like, it's just not gonna be a thing from now on. Oh shit, people play this game. People seem to actually play this like every day. This game that I'm playing right now, not necessarily this version, some other version. I think, what is that? What version? Maybe it's on Steam. It is on Steam. Okay, I mean, that looks visually pretty unappealing to me. Kind of surprised that's played that much. But let's do this. You know, it'd be cool if PC Engine had a. First of all, we're gonna wait, see if there's like voice acting. If there is, I'm gonna feel like super fucking stupid for doing this, but. I'm gonna feel stupid. Maybe it's just subtitles though. I would imagine it's just subtitles. Wouldn't that be easier? Maybe? Probably not. Maybe? I don't know. Probably is easier. And it has to be easier, I feel like. But we're gonna just like we're just gonna see what the deal is. Real quick. It's the same shit that we're skipping.
East, the ideal utopia. Once a country so peaceful and prosperous.
I feel stupid now. Maybe I should have listened to. Fuck, I don't want to do that again. I can just watch it on YouTube later if I need to. You already watched that? Yeah, I mean, if we really want to watch the opening cutscene, just watch it on YouTube. This is something a lot of people don't understand. It's like, oh, dude, you're skipping the cutscenes? No, dude, I go and watch it on YouTube. The fuck? I don't have all the time to just sit on my ass, watch cutscenes. It's like, this is game time. There's only so much time in the world. Stereo. S. S? S? Does that mean it's pronounced S? Oh wait, it says on the box S. Oh, it is. It's S. S. Is. Well, I've been saying it super S series. Better be a way to increase the, like, text speed. Better be a way to do that, man. Very animated. Cool. Speed, is this text? Yes, we're doing fast. Remember our stats. What's max level? Probably, like, if I had to guess, is, you know, the other game ripped this off. Not the music I was expecting to hear, judging what we've been hearing. Type music. There's a sword, a shield, armor. Can't jump in this game, dude. At least you can jump in Zack. Oh shit, there's side quests. What, in my inventory? Like, do I have it? There we go. Right? Buy shield, small shield. Dude, I don't have that kind of money. What is this guy telling me to buy? I don't have that kind of money. What the fuck? Alright, dude. I think I got that kind of money to just... How long is this game? 4 hours and 50 minutes from Nintendo Complete? Almost seems shorter. Like if we're being... no, it's probably longer than Zack. Sure, many things will change the length of the game. How long it may be. Alright, can I like kill people? Let's figure this out. Where's the combat? This is like the moment of truth, pretty much. Alright, like how much have we advanced from Hide Light? It's a question. I've never played Hide Light. I'm starting to like grow respect for Hide Light because I'm seeing like what the deal is. I'm starting to see that there's a big inspiration for a lot of games. If I've never played Hide Light, I will one day. But damn, Hide Light was an OG. Oh shit, this music. Holy fuck. Is this oh shit, is this really the combat? Wait, so, I mean, future games must advance the combat here. This is really Hide Light. Wait, how do I heal to 20 again? Hold up. If I heal that fast? Okay, so this is a little, almost more forgiving than like Zack, because Zack you need like the heal cloak, at least in Zack 2. Exact. I don't know what the fuck it's supposed to be said. It could be something I could solve right now, but I'm gonna continue to not think about Zack 1 and 2. We've been getting a lot of mid on PC Engine. It's too bad. I didn't really realize this was gonna happen. I thought we were gonna get back-to-back bangers all the time. What did we get before Zack? What was the game before? Oh no, we did get two like really good games back to back. You know, because they're shmups. didn't want starting RPG. I just dropped in the first like battle because didn't know what the fuck's going on. But we'll figure it out with the Genesis version. Play that. Just stay in this game. I think I'll really figure it out. Funny, this is on NES, right? So like, we're just gonna play this many times. Probably this game. But now I know what it's all about, and I'm pretty underwhelmed now. To tell you the truth, I'm very underwhelmed, and so I realized that was going to be the case. I played Zack, which I heard compared to this game, and it made me realize all these games are just highlights. And you know, that's kind of why Zelda's so great. Think about it, you know, what the fuck I'm thinking for people that shit on Zelda, are you kidding me? Like, even Zelda 2 is a straight up RPG, by the way. No, that's an RPG, straight up, and it has actual combat. You could even say it has like enemy does this game have enemy design? Or are they just different stats? I'm trying to think they're just different stats. Yeah, I don't think that just any design. I mean, this guy's fast, which, well, that's like stat increase, so that's really just higher speed. So, dude, respect Zelda because this is what Zelda would be if Nintendo just didn't give a shit. Granted, they are very different games. But like, the thing is, the real Zelda starts once you know what the fuck you're doing. Once you know what to do, then you're like, then it becomes linear. That's when Zelda's good. That's when you just already know where you're supposed to be. At least for the NES Zelda for me. Sometimes I think I underrate that game, even though it's like top 2 Zelda for me, top 3, top 2, top 3. Sometimes I think I underrate it. I'm trying to think about it. I mean, it's just like a whole lot of walking a lot of the time. There's just a lot of walking, backtracks. Unfortunately, like it's mandatory unless you want to kill yourself on purpose. Like the speedrunners do, it's actually beneficial to kill yourself in Zelda 2, so that you just like get to some place faster. So I think that's my big issue with that game. Which is like why it's actually a shame that they never made one in that style. They could have just made one that's better. And then we would have had the best, one of the best games. That's not bad. That's actually not too bad. What do you think about that? I mean, like, I don't think it's a big deal. It's like, oh, you like Zelda 2, just play Zelda 2. They could have actually, like, fixed some of those problems I have. But it's also like, whatever, does it actually bother me that much? It's like a 3-hour game still. So, it's whatever. But there are points you're just like walking, so that's... But still, I feel like the gameplay density is higher than other Zelda games in Zelda 2. It's one of the highest, I feel like. But it also is limited. So, because of its perspective, you can't really be fighting that much stuff on screen at a time. I think that's why there's a whole lot of just like, there's a lot of walking in any Zelda games, and that's the truth. Every single one of them. Type of game is. Don't know if there's actually much you can do about that. But I guess, you know, if they just had like fast travel in Zelda 2, like, because the thing is like, oh, well, maybe it's designed that way so you kill enemies and level up on your way back, but the level cap is so low, so that just can't be the case. But I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to think, if you did the minimum, like what level would you be, and maybe like you can still increase your attack, so it doesn't really matter. You don't need the other stats really. Okay, so if we stop moving, we level up fast. Just like Zack, except Zack had, yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see how this compares to Zack as you play more. Let me ask, like, what are the top 10 PC Engine RPG? Let's see, so Far East of Eden 2. Holy fuck, this is bleak. I just asked AI, so it's unbiased, right? Oh, hold up. What? Okay. What the fuck? Hold up. Got distracted. So, top PC Engine RPGs. We got Far East of Eden 2, which is coming up soon. We got Zarya, if that's actually number 2. It's bleak out here, dude. It's fucking bleak. And then we got this game is apparently 3rd. And then S4. Comedic spin-off. Zarya, Tengai Makio. Yeah. Zack 1 and 2. What the fuck? That's 6? Dragon Knight and Graffiti. I don't know. It's looking slightly bleak for the PC Engine RPG library. I think maybe it was going to be bleak on this RPG we're talking about. It's like, how many games do you really want to just level up your character, dude? I can tell you how many games that I would want to play just like a normal game, which is infinite. There's no limit to the amount of games we're just playing, you know. As far as amount of games I want to level up a character, probably only like 100 would be like the limit. And we'd be like more of 100 of these types of games. Like Zelda 2 would obviously be one of those. And that's like a low level path. It's like whatever. Don't get me wrong, I think it would probably be better if it was just like a normal game. I can also overlook it because it's literally like the level caps or level ups don't really matter that much in Zelda 2. Or at least it's like whatever, you don't grind, it's like, you just, whatever. I mean, it is possible you just end up weak if you're rushing through the game. I feel like that's pretty hard though. Cause I definitely didn't have to grind when I was playing through that. Did I? Last time it was like 3 hours, there's no way I grinded. A sword, a shield, and armor. Okay, so we're missing the armor bit. That's what we're missing. I wonder, like, should I get like the good armor? Should I get the good shit? I feel like I was leveling up so slow that it wasn't worth it anymore. But I don't know. That's why I stopped. It's much faster to level up in the Zack games. I assume that's because the PC Engine version changed quite a bit of things. So they made level ups pretty fast. Probably back then they thought it was... Anyway. I don't really know when it came out. I mean, when the PC Engine came out, I feel like it might have been outdated feeling. So they just added quality of life stuff, which includes 5 times XP. Yes. I just lied. I don't know what the fuck the books are, so we're gonna because this is I skipped like the opening. So we gotta get 6 books. Wait, I just realized this is 2 games. How's this gonna work? Is this gonna be like Zack? Did Zack really just rip this off? The fuck? Let's see, top PC Engine RPGs include these book 1 and 2. Oh fuck, we found a video. So this is the definitive.
If you were just starting out with RPGs on the TurboGrafx 16 or PC Engine,
Holy shit.
You found your starting point.
So
book 1 and 2.
We just found the definitive ranking.
Next game. First section of the game.
13 years ago?
For the
I mean, it
books.
doesn't matter.
I guess at the time that it was released. So countries other than Japan didn't really get a lot of the fantastic RPGs that are on the system, which is, you know, sad. But don't worry about it because actually
This is
there
the
are quite a few
definitive
good
ranking.
TurboGrafx 16 games released that are RPGs in English. So and a few in Japanese that are still playable even without knowing English despite being RPGs. So keep that in mind. So anyway, let's look at my TurboGrafx 16 and PC Engine recommendations. When people think of absolute classic RPGs on
Yo,
TurboGrafx
this
16,
guy's a
this game
nerd.
is probably the one that comes to mind.
Ys Book 1 and 2 deserve the reputation it has as a great RPG. Though the original 2 games were released in 1987 and 1988 respectively, they were released together on the PC Engine and the TurboGrafx 16 as a single game in 1989. I remember when I initially played them, I didn't actually know where the first game ended and the second game started because of the length differences in the 2 games, the first being markedly shorter than the second. But none of that really mattered though, as I enjoyed all the time I spent with the game. The first section of the game has you searching for the 6 books of Ys in order to defeat
I hope you
Ys,
find your
the secret of
way.
the floating continent of Ys. That's the entire first game, most of which is spent in Darm Tower. The second game starts seamlessly with Adol reaching the floating continent of Ys and having his quest to destroy
Oh
Ys continued.
shit, we love
The
it.
fighting system involves running into enemies. That's essentially it. You just bump into them. You run headlong into battle, and as long as you pay attention to the angle you hit at, and don't let enemies surround you or hit you from behind, you can defeat almost anything. If you're like me, you probably overgrind, and it makes defeating large swaths of enemies later on quite easy. Though, this isn't really a novelty now. At the time when this came out, people were absolutely floored by the animated cutscenes in this game. Being one of the first console experiences most people encountered, the animations alone had everyone wanting to play this game. On top of that, the soundtrack, which makes full use of the Red Book audio capabilities of the PC Engine and TurboGrafx 16, is legendary. For me,
It is.
this is still one of the definitive versions of the game. Or should I say games? If you were just starting out with RPGs on the TurboGrafx 16 or PC Engine, you found your starting point. Ys Book 1 and 2.
The next game, Cosmic Fantasy 2, was actually the first CD-based RPG.
Sapphire Ring?
My
What
first
does that
ever
do?
TurboGrafx CD, this was one of the first games I got with it, and the first that I sat down and played. It's also one of the first working designs games that I've ever played.
The initial impression you get from the gameplay is that it's very similar to Dragon Quest, as you have a party of characters that march around in an overworld and also have first-person battles against rows of enemies. It's actually even a bit more simple than Dragon Quest, though, because the battles are very simple and predictable. I'm pretty sure you can't miss an attack, though that goes for enemies as well. And beyond magic, there aren't any special attacks either. This might seem a little boring, but it does make the game more accessible for those who don't want to think about tough battles and more want to get into the story of the game. Luckily, the story for Cosmic Fantasy 2 is great. It does start you as an unlikely hero trying to save a kidnapped princess from an evil wizard. Pretty standard stuff, but there are twists that make it much more than that. There are cosmic hunters and time travel and some interesting and some annoying characters like that damn Pico the cat, and a lot of great-looking animated cutscenes as well. It was probably most well known at the time for containing scenes with
Oh, this looks
like
epic.
that damn Pico the cat, and a lot of great-looking animated cutscenes as well. It was probably most well known at the time for containing scenes with near nudity and a bondage scene in a jail as well. That's almost right at the beginning though. Not only that, there are tons of sexual jokes made throughout the game. It kind of seems like it missed an editing process when it was ported over to the American consoles, but that's the benefit for everyone. There are actually 4 games in the Cosmic Fantasy series, but for me, Cosmic Fantasy 2 has an extra nostalgia value to it. It's also the only game in the series released in English. Another upside is that the game isn't so expensive now, and even less expensive if you get the Japanese release.
Cosmic Fantasy isn't the only series that didn't get a full release outside of Japan. In fact, there were other, more popular series that rivaled even Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest in their popularity, yet didn't get a single release outside of Japan.
In Japan, Tengai Mafia was one of the most famous RPGs of the 16-bit era. The first in the series, Jiraiya, was one of the first CD-based RPGs and was developed by Red Entertainment, who also had hands in developing Bond's adventure with Atlas. The sequel, Manjimaru, was released in 1992 and was a huge hit. The graphics were updated significantly thanks to the Super CD. The soundtrack was composed by Joe Hisashi, who is well known for composing soundtracks for various Studio Ghibli films. The characters are
Whoa,
more
whoa,
interesting
whoa,
and
whoa. What? Holy fuck, that is super misinformation, dude. What the
The series
fuck?
composed by sequel Manjimaru was released in 1992 and was a huge hit. The graphics were updated significantly thanks to the Super CD. The soundtrack was composed by Joe Hisashi, who is well known for composing
Oh wait, that might be true. It's the sequel he's talking about. What the fuck? Holy fuck, that might be true. I didn't know that. Holy shit. Dude, holy fuck, what? Yo, that actually blew my mind. How did they get these dudes? Joe Hisaishi has never won an Oscar, but Ryuichi Sakamoto did. Anyway. I guess it's not that crazy because Michael Jackson was doing the music for Sonic 3. So I shouldn't really be surprised at this point. It was known for its massive scale and high. It was estimated budget of $4 million in 1992. Interesting. I didn't know that. That's pretty fucking wild.
soundtracks for various Studio Ghibli films. The characters are more interesting and iconic, and the goofy nature of the series really starts to stand out. As with many RPGs of the time, gameplay is not all that dissimilar to Dragon Quest in that you have an overworld and first-person fights. Though in these first-person fights, the sprites are huge and well-detailed. I don't think more than 2 ever appear on the screen at one time, but larger creatures will fill nearly the whole screen. The real fights are huge and well-detailed. I don't think more than 2 ever that dissimilar to Dragon Quest in that you have an overworld and first-person fights. Though in these first-person fights, the sprites are huge and well-detailed. I don't think more than 2 ever appear on the screen at one time, but larger creatures will fill nearly the whole screen. The real fun of the series comes in the story, though. The main plot is essentially travel to new places and fight bosses, but the world and the characters make it interesting. Imagine the game world as a Japan, called Japan in this series, that's being described by someone who knows only vague facts about Japan and just adds in their own interpretations. This is kind of the running joke of the game, and it's played quite well. Tengai Mafia 2, Manjimaru, is definitely an RPG that is fun and colorful and really interesting overall. It's definitely a must-play for those with the system's CD add-on.
Though many of the RPGs of the time tended to have systems that were reminiscent of Dragon Quest, some took their, inspiration from other places. Though technically I'd not consider this game an RPG or the game that inspired an RPG, but there are many of you out there that would consider it an RPG, so for you guys I'm including this, one of my childhood favorites, Utopia.
What the
Well, anyone who
fuck?
plays Utopia will quickly realize that it's essentially a Legend of Zelda clone. You control a single character wielding a sword and a shield on a top-down overworld. There are dungeons to explore to find medallions and fight bosses. There are secret rooms found with bombs or by burning bushes or pushing blocks. There's even a princess to save. This is essentially the Legend of Zelda, the TurboGrafx version. However, Utopia, in my opinion, managed to exceed the Zelda games of the past in nearly every way despite being a clone. The game added some new weapons, including the very useful fire rod. The music is great for a cue card-based game. The graphics are obviously leaps and bounds ahead of the NES Zelda games of the time. And as a kid, this was the Zelda sequel I wanted as opposed to the Adventures of Link, which I enjoyed, but markedly less so than the original and Utopia. The game itself plays exactly how you expect it to. Enemies wander about and are fought in a top-down view. Bosses tend to be strong and take a bit of strategy and effort to defeat, though once the patterns are determined, they get decidedly easier. The game environments are also quite nice. They're varied and colorful and pleasing to look at. If you enjoy these kinds of action and adventure games, you can't really go wrong with Utopia.
Up until this point, every RPG I've talked about has been a single-player affair. Though a vast majority of RPGs only work as single-player games and are mostly preferred that way, there are some examples of RPGs that work well and maybe even better in multiplayer.
That brings us to Dungeon Explorer 2. Developed by Atlas, this is the 1993 sequel to Dungeon Explorer, also for the TurboGrafx 16 and PC Engine. For those unfamiliar with the gameplay, it's a lot like arcade classic Gauntlet, where you control a character through a maze while killing monsters and their related monster generators. Unlike Gauntlet, however, the Dungeon Explorer series has RPG elements including stats, levels, and boss battles. There's also a town to visit and an overworld to explore to get to new dungeons. Not only that, there's a large list of characters and secret characters that can be used and upgraded. There are 8 standard classes: Fighter, Hunter, Wizard, Dwarf, Elf, Cleric, Bard, and Thief. And these can be upgraded to Knight, Sniper, Warlock, Dwarf Lord, High Elf, Hermit, Rogue, and Master. Not only that, there are 6 secret characters: Witch, Monk, Princess, Robot, Beastman, and Engineer, giving you 22 total classes. There may be more, but that's all I could find. Because it's an action dungeon crawling game like Gauntlet, the inclusion of multiplayer for up to 5 people makes the game a lot more fun to play with friends. It's also nice to have that extra firepower when you meet some of the rather challenging bosses in the later half of the game. The game has nice visuals as well, lots of side quests and hidden missions, and an excellent soundtrack. It's a great combination of old school arcade style action and RPG elements, and is definitely recommended.
Okay, so the next game is going to get confusing. Okay, that's not really true. The game itself isn't exactly confusing, but explaining anything about the game is confusing, so I feel that I need a chart or a graph or something to help you guys out, but I'm not going to make one. However, before we get into that, let me introduce the game.
Dragon Slayer 8, Legend of Xanadu, was developed by Falcom for the PC Engine and released in 1994. Though it's in the Dragon Slayer series, which also includes Dragon Slayer 2 Xanadu, it plays less like that game and more like Falcom's Ys games. Despite having the name Xanadu, it's not a sequel to the original Xanadu, which is a combination of old school game. The game has nice visuals as well, lots of side quests and hidden missions, and an excellent soundtrack. It's a great combination of old school arcade style action and RPG elements, and is definitely recommended.
Okay, so the next game is going to get confusing. Okay, that's not really true. The game itself isn't exactly confusing, but explaining anything about the game is confusing, so I feel that I need a chart or a graph or something to help you guys out, but I'm not going to make one. However, before we get into that, let me introduce the game.
Dragon Slayer 8, Legend of Xanadu, was developed by Falcom for the PC Engine and released in 1994. Though it's in the Dragon Slayer series, which also includes Dragon Slayer 2 Xanadu, it plays less like that game and more like Falcom's Ys games. Despite having the name Xanadu, it's not a sequel to the original Xanadu, which itself actually spawned a sequel, Xanadu Scenario 2, and a side story on the Famicom, Xanadu. It's instead the 8th part of the Dragon Slayer series, to which the original Xanadu is the second part. It too has 2 parts that are connected. Still with me there? I don't even know if I have. The game is played somewhat similar to Ys, where the battles mostly involve you running into enemies until they die. The first game also has side-scrolling areas before bosses, where the fighting is similar to the side-scrolling battles in Ys 3, where you actually have to push buttons to attack, though those are removed in the second game. The leveling system is different though, as you don't have levels per se, but you get stronger with weapons and skills the more that you use them.
Wait, these games aren't English patched? They just released in English? Seriously? Oh. That explains it. What the fuck? I did not know that. I did not know that at all.
The story, scrolling areas before bosses, where the fighting is similar to the side-scrolling battles in Ys 3, where you actually have to push buttons to attack, though those are removed in the second game. The leveling system is different though, as you don't have levels per se, but you get stronger with weapons and skills the more that you use them. The story revolves around you being a descendant of the legendary hero Aeneas, being tasked to lead troops into battle versus the evil monster armies of Kakos. That's almost all the story, actually. But though that's because there is a sequel, and the story is actually continued in the sequel, Legend of Xanadu 2, which is the final Dragon Slayer game and the second in the Legend of Xanadu games, which is not a sequel to the original Xanadu, but is a sequel in the Dragon Slayer series to which Xanadu is part of. I think I just confused myself there. So the sequel, it looks better than the original. Takes away the side-scrolling areas before bosses, though the boss fights are still side-scrolling, and instead provides a lot of spectacular-looking boss battles. The general system is still the same, but the story sees you searching a new continent 3 years after the end of the last game for your lost friend, who was in the first game. Of course, there is more to it than that, but that's the general gist. Personally, I prefer the first half to the second half as it's longer and more difficult, so I'd recommend that one. However, if you aren't into higher difficulty and just want to play a fun game, you can start directly on the second. I suggest both to get the full effect though, obviously.
Have you ever come across a game where the premise is just so awesome that it pretty much carries the entire game? I don't mean a bad game that failed, but a game that's generally not bad but excels because the premise is just so great. This next one is one of those.
Last Armageddon was originally released for Japanese computers in 1988, but received its PC Engine as well as
what?
Famicom port in
People
1990.
like this game?
The game has one of the coolest concepts I can think of for an RPG. First, the setting of the game is post-apocalyptic, but not nuclear so much as the atmosphere of the planet became toxic to all humans and animals, causing them to melt and die. The only remaining creatures are monsters and demons who aren't affected by the toxins. Since your party is made up of various monsters, there has to be something else for enemies. In this case, it's robots and aliens. Yes, this is an epic RPG where monsters fight robots and aliens for the control of the planet. That's the basic idea behind the game, though. The system is quite interesting as well. You actually have 3 parties of 4 monsters that are controlled separately. You have a day team and a night team, as well as, an end-of-the-month team, which is used in a larger block of time than the other 2 teams. As you can imagine, this is not a game for people who don't like to grind levels, as each party is leveled separately. Really, the game contains thoughts and aliens for the control of the planet. That's the basic idea behind the game, though. The system is quite interesting as well. You actually have 3 parties of 4 monsters that are controlled separately. You have a day team and a night team, as well as, an end-of-the-month team, which is used in a larger block of time than the other 2 teams. As you can imagine, this is not a game for people who don't like to grind levels, as each party is leveled separately. Really, the game contains a lot of interesting story elements and ties together seemingly bizarre events in a coherent way in the end that makes the game really enjoyable. It's got enough charm and enough straight-up awesomeness to overcome the slight flaws it might have. And those flaws mostly are related to the high encounter rates and the high level of grinding you have to do to really level your characters up. But beyond that, definitely play this game. It's totally awesome.
One thing I can say about the PC Engine is that it has a large amount of quality action RPGs. The next recommendation, in my opinion, is probably one of the best on the system.
Blood Gear, released on my birthday in 1994, was developed by Westone, who is probably most famous for developing a lot of the early Wonder Boy titles in conjunction with Sega. The game itself, though, is split into 2 types of gameplay, a top-down overworld and a side-scrolling action areas, not unlike The Adventures of Link, or Exile, or even more aptly, Wonder Boy 3. The overworld areas are where you wander around visiting towns and various other locations to progress the story and upgrade your mech. The side-scrolling areas are where the action takes place. You gain experience by defeating enemies, and those experience points can in turn be used to upgrade various parts of the mech you're using. It's not necessary to upgrade the mechs entirely, but if you're like me and you have an unquenchable thirst to do so, this can be time-consuming if you're a completionist, but it's perfectly possible to clear this game without upgrading all the way. There are multiple mechs and each has their own upgrade limit, so it's really up to you what you want to do with them. The graphics in this game are great. The more you play, the more you'll notice how good everything looks. Some stages have some nice parallax scrolling, the bosses are huge, and the stages make great use of the expanded color display of the PC Engine. There are also a good amount of animated cutscenes, which is nearly expected on CE games. On top of all that, the story for the game is actually pretty good. It's essentially your mech pilot taking on evil galactic forces, which might seem a bit like Star Wars, but, there are some shock surprise moments towards the end that make it good. Best of all, despite being an RPG, it's quite easy to play without top piece. Even more aptly, it's split into 2 types of gameplay, a top-down overworld and a side-scrolling action areas, not unlike the high encounter rates and the high level of grinding you have to do to really level your characters up. But beyond that, definitely play this game. It's totally awesome.
One thing I can say about the PC Engine is that it has a large amount of quality action RPGs. The next recommendation, in my opinion, is probably one of the best on the system.
Blood Gear, released on my birthday in 1994, was developed by Westone, who is probably most famous for developing a lot of the early Wonder Boy titles in conjunction with Sega. The game itself, though, is split into 2 types of gameplay, a top-down overworld and a side-scrolling action areas, not unlike The Adventures of Link, or Exile, or even more aptly, Wonder Boy 3. The overworld areas are where you wander around visiting towns and various other locations to progress the story and upgrade your mech. The side-scrolling areas are where the action takes place. You gain experience by defeating enemies, and those experience points can in turn be used to upgrade various parts of the mech you're using. It's not necessary to upgrade the mechs entirely, but if you're like me and you have an unquenchable thirst to do so, this can be time-consuming if you're a completionist, but it's perfectly possible to clear this game without upgrading all the way. There are multiple mechs and each has their own upgrade limit, so it's really up to you what you want to do with them. The graphics in this game are great. The more you play, the more you'll notice how good everything looks. Some stages have some nice parallax scrolling, the bosses are huge, and the stages make great use of the expanded color display of the PC Engine. There are also a good amount of animated cutscenes, which is nearly expected on CE games. On top of all that, the story for the game is actually pretty good. It's essentially your mech pilot taking on evil galactic forces, which might seem a bit like Star Wars, but, there are some shock surprise moments towards the end that make it good. Best of all, despite being an RPG, it's quite easy to play without any knowledge of Japanese. This one's a winner for everyone, and should definitely be picked up and played if you get the chance.
The next game is one that was something of an RPG anomaly of the time. Just look at the cover here. It features artwork by H.R. Giger, and you can tell that, just by looking at it, that Jaseiken Necromancer is not going to be similar to other RPGs of the time.
The first thing you'll notice about this game that made a difference from some more popular RPGs on systems like the Famicom is that the character sprites are somewhat realistically proportioned. Monsters are less along the lines of cute Dragon Quest slimes and are more along the lines of entrail dragging zombies and flesh-eating butterflies, and also blood sprays from enemies when they die. Beyond that, the maps and environments are more dark and creepy than what came before it. It's a fantasy RPG, yes, but a horror fantasy RPG, so there are healthy doses of monsters and gore to go with your swords and magic. Not only that, the game takes huge influence from the works of H.P. Lovecraft, so you'll be running into boss fights with Yog-Sothoth, Hastur, Nyarlathotep, and Azathoth. And on a side note, if you recognize any of those names, you're probably as big a horror nerd as me and are probably now doubly excited to play this game. The music also stands up pretty well. There are multiple areas where the PC Engine chiptunes have been handled in a way that more along G's than these board games. On top of all that, the mechs in this game are great. It's essentially your mech pilot taking on evil galactic forces, which might seem a bit like Star Wars, but, there are some shock surprise moments towards the end that make it good. Best of all, despite being an RPG, it's quite easy to play without any knowledge of Japanese. This one's a winner for everyone, and should definitely be picked up and played if you get the chance.
The next game is one that was something of an RPG anomaly of the time. Just look at the cover here. It features artwork by H.R. Giger, and you can tell that, just by looking at it, that Jaseiken Necromancer is not going to be similar to other RPGs of the time.
The first thing you'll notice about this game that made a difference from some more popular RPGs on systems like the Famicom is that the character sprites are somewhat realistically proportioned. Monsters are less along the lines of cute Dragon Quest slimes and are more along the lines of entrail dragging zombies and flesh-eating butterflies, and also blood sprays from enemies when they die. Beyond that, the maps and environments are more dark and creepy than what came before it. It's a fantasy RPG, yes, but a horror fantasy RPG, so there are healthy doses of monsters and gore to go with your swords and magic. Not only that, the game takes huge influence from the works of H.P. Lovecraft, so you'll be running into boss fights with Yog-Sothoth, Hastur, Nyarlathotep, and Azathoth. And on a side note, if you recognize any of those names, you're probably as big a horror nerd as me and are probably now doubly excited to play this game. The music also stands up pretty well. There are multiple areas where the PC Engine chiptunes have been handled in a way that they give the perfect creepy atmosphere. Overall, the only real downside I can think of for this game, and a lot of the games I'm recommending as well as old school console RPGs in general, is that the encounter rate and the amount of necessary grinding might be somewhat unbearable to the weaker of you. This kind of thing never bothers me as I was brought up on this kind of thing, but just take warning. However, this game is nearly perfect in my eyes.
The final game I'm going to recommend you is one of the most underrated RPGs I can think of. Barring a few others that have retoolings that will show up in later videos, it's definitely one of my favorites on the system.
There isn't much I don't like about Emerald Dragon, and it's unique enough that I actually have trouble saying what kind of RPG it is. Generally, these kinds of things are based on the battle system, so something like Ys is an action RPG, while Shining Force is a strategy RPG, etc. However, the first thing you notice about Emerald Dragon is that the battle system is actually a combination of those two games. You have turn-based battles for each character, and each character has a certain amount of battle points to use in a turn, kind of like Shining Force. However, the actual fighting is action-based and mostly involves running into monsters, like Ys. Imagine a somewhat prototype version of the basic battle system in something like Eternal Sonata. The only thing of note is that the computer controls all the party members, and you control the main character only. Beyond combat, though, the game has a lot going for it. The overall graphics are quite nice. There's something about the PC Engine graphics that are very distinctive, and of course, that exists here. There's rich use of color, and the scenery is nicely done. On top of that, you have top-notch cutscenes interspersed throughout the story. The story itself really pulled me in. You have an overly evil white-haired bad guy to find and defeat, though I guess that gets a pass because the game came out before that was cool. But the real story is the commitment. Rich use of color, and the scenery is nicely done. On top of that, you have top-notch cutscenes interspersed throughout the story. The story itself really pulled me in. You have an overly evil white-haired bad guy to find and defeat, though I guess that gets a pass because the game came out before that was cool. But the real story is the connection between the two main characters despite their difference in species. There's actually a lot of touching moments throughout. The music is also pretty noteworthy. There's a mix between chip-based and Red Book audio, but the chip-based music tends to be good, and the Red Book audio is of course great. I actually have very little to complain about for this game. Even the encounter rates for enemies aren't over the top like some others on the list. For RPGs on the PC Engine, this one is really a must-play.
So that wraps up another list of RPG recommendations. Hopefully you're able to find some interesting RPGs that you might want to take a look at. Next time we'll be taking a look at the second system that has CD out on, the Sega Genesis / Sega Mega Drive / Sega CD. So be prepared for all the blast processing you can handle in RPG form. So until then, see you next time.
Alright, crank the music now. I took out these lamps. Some good tunes, man. Boy. As much as I love Falcom's new remakes, TurboGrafx version are still my favorite way to revisit these classics. The grinding is slow as fuck. Like, you get 1 experience point after a certain point for the Zag, right? So, like, I'm just not used to it. Sure, there will be a good grind spot eventually. This is good music. That's the thing I knew before going in. Holy fuck. What? Holy moly.
Are you here to rescue me? How wonderful it would be to escape these chains. I have been locked up here for too long. My name is Fina.
The goons. The goons. Still 1 experience. Could be a good grind spot, man. Suppose we'll have to wear it. There we go. Maybe armor ring is secretly better though. It's possible that armor ring is better. What's this? It's 1 XP at a time. I gotta get like some good armor, man. There's a good armor shop. I'm hoping. Is there an armor shop? I'll go walk to the beginning. Trees are living creatures. True. That dude is so wise. Dun, 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 dun. Fucking talk to me. 6,000. We're gonna buy all that shit. I don't care. We're gonna get so fucking rich. I don't really know how we're gonna do it. But I'm gonna get so rich in this game and I'm gonna be so powerful. Sounds like I need to fucking grind, probably. Get more than one experience. Oh, it's up here. That guy give like no experience? Are you serious? This is so slow. Focus on getting on gold, probably. Let's actually pay attention to the gold count that we're getting. It's a bit higher, right? It's not. Yeah, the gold grind is actually going, so that's the difference. Get out of this place. Here we go. Dude, this is good. See what happens. Moment of truth. Okay, so we defeated him. It worked. Can't deny that. Alright, I'll screenshot. I'll use that right now. What does... What do all of these do? Nothing. I wasted that potion. Not sure how much it would matter, but... What does that do? Yo, what the flip does the timer ring do? Speed of enemies by 1/2. That seems good. We'll wear it for a bit. maybe even for a long time. It seems like the speed is the main primary thing making these guys challenge at all. Never mind. Unusual. Can't just do that. Oh well. Dude. That's some fucking bullshit. No! Level up. I gotta like exit and heal. These guys are kind of destroying me whenever they can. Still not strong enough. Strong enough to fight them, but not strong enough to just fucking destroy them. That's where we're at. So the armor did help. Undeniably. One sec. I feel like they're giving less and less experience. That's how it is, huh? I'm gonna level up again though.
You know, I feel like that Zack game made your stats 99999 just to make you like feel powerful, and the game thought it was cool for doing that. It's like really thought it was cool for just giving you 9999 stats. That's the fucking point of these games, I guess, is to make you feel like you're doing something, like you're strong. It's really just your numbers going up from your time sync. That's the thing is because Zack is just a blatant ripoff. It just didn't really. It itself might not. Well, maybe the guy that made it understands. He developed himself, I guess. Things having 999 stats is the coolest thing ever. Well, it's 9,999 actually was the final stats. It's pretty silly. Like, that, oh, it was magic specifically. So strength is super high, defense is super high. Once again, see what the deal is. How much they get 2 now, so now it's super inefficient. So we just gotta ignore them now. Straight up. Is that the strongest thing I have? It is. Could have used that potion by now. Turns out. Does he not reappear? That's over for me. Alright, that's gonna have to be it then.